Okay, so for this one, what I did was I actually started with the one in front, the smallest one, and then I drew this one and that one. Since they're overlapping, it was just easier. That's okay. That's just a process I did because it seemed easier for me. It doesn't really matter too much. It's only because they're overlapping. So I did the small one first. Something like that. That one looks kind of boxy. And then behind it, this is kind of a rough shape. I think I'm gonna add in the ridges and everything after. Right now I'm just establishing where I'm placing everything in the overall shape. This one's really tall. One. That looks really narrow. Maybe I'll make it a little shorter. Yeah, the white stripes I have here is just one way to approach the painting. Oh. So when we have these objects right next to each other, we either have to wait for them to dry before we paint the one next to it so that they don't blend, or leave a white gap if you don't have time to wait for it to dry. I had left some white gaps here as an outline right around here. Some of it actually bled into each other. That's a kind of the tricky bit with trying to paint quickly when you don't have much time to wait for things to dry. I kind of make up for it by leaving white gaps. Maybe I can leave this like that for reference. I would follow the same steps, same process for drawing these. So I did the outlines first, then I'll draw the stems in. In my sample here, they have very viney stems. So what I would do is outline or establish where the main stem is, and then after that you could paint, draw a few loops if you like that loopy look. I can thicken this just by drawing around it. Or you don't have to draw it in, you could just take a thicker brush and trace this. That's another option. If you like to have the outline, I would probably draw it around this line. If you want to make sure it's as exactly how thick you want it, I'll trace this a little bit. I think I could make that a little bit thicker. Okay, this one I'll make it really thick. Trying to decide which pumpkin I want to paint in this spot. I think I really like the one in the photo I gave you, and the bottom right looks really interesting to me. I'm going to try to make it a really big version of it right here. This one has an interesting pattern on it. I'm gonna make that taller. Okay. Anyone need any help or have any questions before I start painting? Looks like everyone's got this sketch down. All right. Well, same principles apply. I just need to make sure these don't touch, the wet doesn't touch the wet parts so they don't bleed into each other. I'm going to start with the one in the front. Just for some variety, I'm going to try painting one of these lighter ones that are more of a light peach color. So for that, I'm going to mix the orange yellow or yellow orange I used earlier with some white to make it a creamy color. I don't need a lot of the orange. Just a little bit should do. And because this is so big, I think I'm going to need a lot. It's going to take a while to get the paint out. I forgot to spritz the palettes. I know there were a couple of classes where I was spritzing the palettes to make it easier to get the water out. That can help a lot. There's my peachy color, creamy color. My pencil lines are going to show through a bit, which I'm okay with. If you don't like it, you can lighten it with this kneaded eraser. What's great about these is that it can erase without rubbing the paper raw, because you can, yeah, I love these kneaded erasers. You can shape them to whatever size shape you want, and you can just press and lift to erase instead of rubbing, which is really nice for the paper, especially watercolor, because it can rip up easily with too much force. If you want to lighten your lines, I forgot to mention this earlier, you can gently dab. Sometimes I'll press and then twist a little bit. Normally I would just sketch lighter, but because I'm doing a demonstration, I want to make sure you can see it, so I draw a little bit darker than I normally would. Okay. I got this initial layer established. It's already starting to dry, so I'm gonna re-wet it by putting the paint on again. And then like the picture, I'm gonna use the orange for the lines. And this one has little dots and some texture, so I'm gonna let that show through with the fuzzy line here. I'll add some dots too. If I were to add a little shadow, I might add a tiny bit of brown. This is a very light brown I added to the bottom edge for some little bit of a shadow. And then for the stem, I'm gonna do brown mixed with a little bit of green. This brown is the one that's right next to the black, and the green is the one below the black. The other green works as well. They're very similar. With these colors, I'm making a slightly, like a brown with a green tinge to it. And I'm gonna fill in the drawing I did here for this curvy stem. I have not added the leaves, but I might do that later. I actually forgot to draw those in. Maybe I'll, oops. Okay. That's one pumpkin done. And for the next one, I'll try well, the order doesn't matter too much as long as you make sure you leave space where they don't blend into each other.
I think it's because he could put a blush on for the sky first.
Oh, like a different process? Yeah. I would love to paint in layers like that if we had the time. But yeah, I've designed our painting so that we don't have to wait for paint to dry. Sometimes when we do the layers, I will give you something else to do while you're waiting for that to dry. But for something like that, I think we need more of a 2-hour class if we're going to be painting in layers. So I've been making these especially for the time that we have. I think painting in layers is a really great method to learn too for watercolor. But this style is just a very quick, loose type. And I've thought about it. I'm like, should we get hair dryers to make it dry faster? But then we'll have maybe 1 or 2 outlets, and it'll get really loud, and everyone will have to wait in line. And yeah, someone suggested just using fans, like hand fans. Okay, well, I'm gonna make the next one here. I think I want to do the one that's more a slightly darker orange with the green stripes. I really love the color combinations here. Green and orange, I think, is a really good color combination. Yeah, it's a good color scheme. Luckily, look.
My husband.
Oh.
Didn't remember that in his phone.
Luckily, my first layer dried a bit, so I don't have to leave that white gap. But I actually think it'll still help because it'll create an extra separation between the objects. So I'm gonna try out leaving a little bit of a white gap. And if I don't like it, I'll just paint over it. Okay. And this one's gonna have dark green stripes.
Yes, you gotta leave everything here.
Yeah, you can. Alrighty.
Oh, no, don't, well, I know, but I'm getting, I'm going.
Yeah, she's getting up because she's gotta go. You're welcome. Good to see you. We'll see you next time. This pumpkin that I'm painting here, I'm looking at the reference and it's got much more dramatic looking lines going down. So I'm letting them be a lot thicker and more watery. It's got a lot of bumps too. And same as the first stem I painted, this is a mix of brown and green. Oh, thank you. I mean, I'm relying a lot on resting my wrist on the table. If it were floating, I'd be shaking a lot. Uh, if you'd like to, I think to do that, you would need to re-wet your surface and put it in. Or you could, if it's already dry, you can do a version where you have hard edges. For this last one, I'm gonna do the one that's one color on top and a different one on the bottom. So I'm just gonna do those separately. That's gonna be, I'm gonna do yellow mixed with orange yellow.
Just move the little that one. Yeah,
This one?
that's it.
Okay.
Because I want to see.
Oh yeah.
That's
Okay.
everything. Yeah.
Okay. I know I have this cable here that's kind of in the way a little bit.
That's fine.
Okay.
The table does.
Here. Oops. I would actually, for the video's sake, I like it to be out of the way.
Oh,
Okay. There we go.
that's good.
Okay. Right now I'm mixing kind of a middle green. I need to swatch this. I don't know how it's gonna look. Yes, that's okay. Mix it with a little gray. Right now what I'm doing is I'm applying a lighter green layer, which I'm gonna add a darker color to on top. But this is my first layer. I'm gonna have to let this dry a little bit, unless I want the fuzzy edges. Okay. At this point I can add the stripes. And there are some, those are my dark green lines that I've added, and then I'm going to be adding some darker orange on top for, I think this is more like shading what I'm doing here. Almost done. We've got just a few more minutes left. It's 11:57. Just realized I forgot to fill in a yellow part. These loops are, um, they have a white gap inside. Oops. Let me fill that back in. Okay. It's about time.